Hello everyone and welcome to this Illustrator tutorial. In this next 3 videos, I am going to show you the 10 most basic things you will need to know to be able to start using Illustrator right away. I will be focusing on the tools and panels that will be useful for you if you want to work primarily with text. So if you want to customize your resume or create a letterhead or a business card, that kind of thing. So I want to point out that this video is for beginners, so it's perfect for you if you have never used Illustrator or if you want to remember the basics. Alright, let's get started. Number 1. Creating a new document. As soon as you open Illustrator, this is what the interface looks like. You have the option to create a new document, open an old document, or see the files that you have been working on. I am going to click on New, and a new dialog box will appear. Now I will go to Print, and Illustrator shows me samples of common sizes. Because I'm in Europe, I will choose A4, but you can select letter if you want. I will make sure that the orientation is set to portrait and that I am working in centimeters. I only want to create one page, and I want to work with CMYK, which means that this is a project that I will want to print. Then I hit create and my artboard will appear. Number 2, the interface. Now that you have created a new document, you will see the Illustrator interface, which might look a little bit intimidating, but it's actually very simple as soon as you know what you're doing. To the right, you will see some icons that represent panels. These are the panels that we will be working with when we have a project that is mostly text. Here you will find swatches, color, character, paragraph, and align. If you don't see one of these panels, you can go to Window and select the panel you are looking for. If it is already there but you haven't found it, then the panel will just open up. And if it was not there before, it will appear and you can add it to the rest, just like this. Wait until the blue line appears and then let go of the mouse. To the left of your screen, you will find the tools. Illustrator makes it very easy to use keyboard shortcuts when you want to change between tools, so you will be able to see the keyboards I press to the bottom left of your screen throughout this video. Since we are learning how to work with text, these are the few tools you will want to learn how to use. The black arrow is called the selection tool. To use it, you can click right here or press V on your keyboard. The white arrow is the direct selection tool. This is the type tool, artboard tool, hand tool, zoom tool, and here you will find several shape tools grouped together. If you click and hold for a second, you will see the rectangle, ellipse, polygon, and star tools. So that's the interface in a nutshell. Now that you know where you can find the tools you need, let's get started learning how to use them. Number 3, the selection tools. I think it's easier to understand how to use them with examples. So it's sometimes very useful to group objects if you know that they belong together and want to move them around together. For example, this cloud is made up of 3 circles and a rectangle. If I drag anything around by mistake, I will damage the cloud. Let's undo that. I can group everything by selecting all of it and pressing Ctrl G or Command G, and now I can move it around without damaging it. So here I have one cloud that is grouped and one that is ungrouped. Let's see what happens when I want to select an object with the black arrow. On the grouped cloud, regardless of where I click, I am selecting the whole group. On the ungrouped cloud, I am only selecting the specific object I am clicking on. This happens regardless of where I click. I can click right in the middle or right along the path, and I am selecting the entire object. While I have an object selected, I can change its attributes. I can move it around, change its color, stroke, size, transparency, and so on. Now let's see how we can use the white arrow. If I click anywhere on the grouped cloud with the white arrow, I will be selecting the object alone, even though it's part of a group. If I want to select everything, I can create a box around it, just like this. So what happens when you use the white arrow to click on a path instead of the center of an object? You will be selecting that specific section of the path and not the whole object. Let's click here and then use our keyboard arrows to move around what we just selected. You will see that only that section of the path is moving. Now let's use the white arrow again to select an anchor point. If I click and drag, I will be changing the cloud's shape instead of moving it around, which would be what happens with the black tool. Let's see how these properties apply to text. These are group text boxes. If I use the black selection tool to move things around, I can move an entire group. If I want to move a single object, I can use the white arrow to select it and move it around. Let's say I want to change this text box's size, but I want to apply my change only to this one box, and it's part of a group. I can select it with the white arrow and then change tools. Now, using the black arrow, I can make the text box larger without affecting the rest of the group. If I select using the black arrow and change any properties like the color, for example, will be affecting the entire group, like this. Let's go back. If I select only one object with the white arrow, I can change its properties alone without affecting the other boxes, just like this. Number 4. How to apply color. Once you have an object selected, it can be a shape, a path, or a text, you can change its color in several ways. When you are selecting a color, you will notice this symbol right here. It appears on both the color and swatches panels, and also to the left with your tools. I can select between these two icons to choose if I want to color the fill, which is the body or the inside of the object, or if I want to color the stroke of the object, which is the outline. There are 3 ways you can select a color. When you open the color panel, you can mix a color yourself by selecting how much cyan, magenta, yellow, or black you want. If you're familiar with color mixing, you will know that mixing cyan and magenta will give you purple, magenta and yellow will give you orange, etc. But if you're not familiar with how color mixing works, you can use the swatches panel, which is option number 2. This panel shows you a variety of colors that have already been prepared, so they will look perfect when they are printed. Through this panel, you can also open color libraries, which have hundreds of colors, so you can just have a look around until you find a color that you like. The third option is to use the eyedropper tool. This allows you to select the color from anything within your document. If you have a picture in your document and you are looking for a color for your title, for example, it is a good idea to sample some colors within your picture. All you need to do is select the object that you want to color, in this case your text, and then press I or select the eyedropper tool and then click on the picture to pick a color. And that's it. These are the first 4 things you will need to know how to do as a beginner. Make sure you watch the second part of this video if you want to learn how to use type, how to place objects, and how to export your work once you are done. Let me know in the comments below if you could use what you learned in your project and how you get along. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!